This is a Hensley TrailerSaver. I've had this for almost, believe it or not, 3 years now. I don't know why I waited so long to be able to do a video about this hitch. I gotta tell you, I just absolutely love this hitch. It is not the most expensive hitch in the world, inexpensive that is, but it is a beast. What I'd like to show you is a couple items here where you have 200-pound airbags in the front, and then you have shock dampers in the back. And then look at the size of this head that you have for the Kingpin. It's just absolutely amazing. Why did I buy such an animal? Well, we were traveling up to North Georgia a good bit, and 2 years ago, on 285, over where the new Atlanta Braves Stadium is being built, the road was just an absolute wreck. And as a result of all that construction that was going on 285, it was just beating my fifth wheel to death. It was, you know, the concrete was uneven and it was bouncing up. We were really starting to see some damage on the inside. I have to share with you this Hensley TrailerSaver. And look, this is, I'm just sharing this with you as fellow RVers. I paid full price for this. I want to say 3 years ago, it was over $3,000 for this hitch. But again, when you look at the investment of a large fifth wheel, I really believe that this is just a small investment to be able to keep not only your truck in good shape and, you know, stop the beating on it, but also, make sure you protect your fifth wheel. And this really does an absolutely superb job. There's very little to learn about this hitch. If you've ever used a fifth wheel hitch before, you still have the same latching mechanism. The difference is, as you'll notice, there is an airport here for the bags. And the other item is this little white line that you see on the front. And I'll show you how this works as I hook up the fifth wheel here in just a minute. It'll just slide right in, very, very simple. But that white line should match the top of the frame right here. And that is the optimum height. I've tried lower, I've tried higher. This is Hensley's recommended line, and I'll share with you, it works perfect. It keeps the head level, the unit level. You know, it's just a standard fifth wheel hitch that just goes right down into the bottom of your existing fifth wheel frames. I already had this, and it just snapped in, and then I was rock and rolling, ready to go. So let's go ahead and back it up, and I'm going to stick it in the pen before we head to Florida. And I'll show you exactly how this thing works. And then if all works well, I'll see if I can't get a little bit of video as we drive down the road with a GoPro camera, okay? So you'll see the hitch mechanism actually has 3 positions. This is locked, and I'll show you the inside of that where the actual jaws clasp the Kingpin. And then you have a release, and then you've got a stage. So it's like a 1, 2, 3 to be able to stage it and then be able to lock into it. I realize it may be just a tad dark, but you can actually see the size of the jaws. I'll see if I can't get a little bit better light here. The size of the jaws that actually bite around the Kingpin. It's just absolutely massive. And then you have your typical things like, you know, a location to be able to put your safety cable, your brake cable, and so forth. You can see the pressure on the bags. I'll also move around, and you'll see I've got this set for optimum height. You see the white line there on the base of the TrailerSaver. So yeah, this is not as bright, as shiny as probably some that you would see. And that's because it's 3 years old, and I have used it like crazy. Thousands and thousands of miles have been on this unit. and I just absolutely love it. That's the TS3 Hensley TrailerSaver. This is a 20,000 pound hitch. I see a lot of people with mobile suites and those types of things who use these. My unit's a little bit lighter, 14,000 pounds. But again, I wanted just a little bit of extra margin here, or if I ever upgrade to a larger fifth wheel, I wouldn't have to buy another hitch. So I just went ahead and over-engineered just a little bit. So I took you down the road and let you see how this thing actually works. It's just absolutely fantastic. I can't imagine pulling a large, heavy fifth wheel camper without a trailer saver. It's just, we've had roads that, again, we talk about 285 around Atlanta, which is just absolutely brutal. 75 northbound up through Atlanta is just brutal with all the construction. One of the worst locations we ever went was I-10 from Baton Rouge to New Iberia. Oh, that road and those bridges are just absolutely horrendous. I-65 up through Texas, between Austin and Dallas, there was a ton of construction. That's probably done by now. But we've been on bad sections of road, and the trailer saver just really smooth. I mean, just look, just regular driving, hitting those bridges with that uneven concrete from the road to the bridge on any interstate or any state road. Just not picking on states, but just any location. This trailer saver really smooths things out. You're still going to get a little bit of shock, but it's just not going to be as violent. It's going to be far smoother than what you'll have with a standard hitch. So I love it. I hope you found this video helpful. And as always, even with my Hensley TrailerSaver, I sure do love RV life.